Welcome to the Great Glen. This is the greatest of all the Scottish glens, so take a few minutes and discover why. Stretching between Fort William in the west and Inverness in the east, the Great Glen can be so much more than a scenic drive. The scenery is stunning, but why not dare to be different? See the Glen by boot, boat or bike. Your journey, long or short, will be a journey through history and through culture, through vibrant communities and through tranquil landscapes. Come and see. Over 400 million years ago, the land masses that will become Scandinavia and Britain crashed together. Where the two mighty forces ground against each other in opposing directions, the result was a deep fault line in the Earth's crust. Then, 13,000 years ago, the climate became colder, leading to the formation of glaciers, which have left their mark on the Great Glen to this very day. You needn't worry too much though. Your own Great Glen experience is unlikely to be troubled by earthquakes or glaciers. But there are certainly thrills for those seeking them along the way. So why not try one of 3 exhilarating and rewarding Great Glen ways? Life on the water is a relaxing way to explore the peaceful lochs and the idyllic Caledonian Canal. Soak up the grandeur of the surrounding glen. Bring a boat, hire a cruiser, or take an organised trip.
If you're not hill walking or hiking, you can be canoeing. And canoeing itself is great for the canal because the canal is usually very sheltered. It's flat water, so you can get in a big canoe and you can paddle up and down, and it's easy access, and people can enjoy it without having to have too many skills, just good basic skills. Good for families, good for everybody.
The scenery changes around every corner. It's been stunning. We've taken hundreds of photographs.
The Caledonian Canal, built by the great engineer Thomas Telford and his team, took 21 years to construct and first opened in 1822. Today, the canal provides a tranquil and historic route through the Glen and is accessible not only by boat, but also on foot and by bike along its scenic and secluded towpaths. This is probably one of the most gentle ways to get off the beaten track.
The canal itself is a fantastic feat of engineering, built I think almost 200 years ago, and it stood the test of time. And apart from that, Loch Ness Circuit Castle is really quite spectacular. And at the far end, the Neptune staircase is certainly worth a look.
We've found all the facilities we need within walking distance. There's good shops. Facilities at the locks are absolutely fantastic.
We look after them as soon as they come in from the sea lock, and we just look after them, make sure they have a safe passage and make sure they're more than welcome and enjoy the stay and not to rush, take everything just as it comes.
I've been all over Europe and there's nowhere quite like the north of Scotland.
Or what about walking the waymarked long-distance path? Either sample bite-sized chunks of this beautiful route, or set yourself the challenge of walking the full 73 miles over a few days with stops en route in Great Glen villages.
The Great Glen Way is a low-level, long-distance walking route, and being one of the national 4 long-distance routes for Scotland, it's probably one of the easy ones. But don't be fooled, there are a couple of hills.
Oh, it's very, very easy, and it's exceptionally well signposted.
The views up and down the loch, over the loch into over at the Monolith Mountains are some of the best views in Scotland. It's a beautiful area.
There are lots of walking trails around, and there's lots of maps that you can get. So you can go into any one of the tourist information centres and get a whole host of maps.
We've been saying as we actually go along it that we haven't really had to use the map at all. Everything's there for you.
Mountain biking can be as gentle or as demanding as you choose. From easy-going canal towpaths to world-class challenges. From peaceful pedalling to aggressive adrenaline. The Great Glen has everything to offer.
You don't have to be an expert, it's just a question of how fast you want to go up the hills. But it's a well-surfaced route. You can, again, go all the way to Fort William. You can cross Scotland quite easily on a bike using the Great Glen. It's a great way to sort of come out into the countryside with confidence and just enjoy yourself.
Is it for you? Undoubtedly, it's for everyone, with great opportunities for all ages and abilities. However you choose to travel and however long you take, the Great Glen can provide an experience that will stimulate your senses, calm your mind and lift your spirits. Give it a go.
There's really something for everybody, you know, if you're interested in your mountain biking or you're walking or you're quiet sort of, you know, taking in the views and wildlife watching, there really is something for everybody.
It's an awesome place for families to come, because while one part of the family might be doing something more active, the other part of the family might be visiting things like the other tourist attractions or doing something more sedate.
It may be the natural beauty which first brings many people to the Great Glen, but it's often the activities, the people and the culture which keep them coming back. As you walk, cycle or sail, consider how many people have travelled these ways before and under what circumstances.
You can learn as you go along the routes, because the interpretation panels that we've put in allow you to get a sense of the culture and history and geology of the whole Great Glen. It talks about the railway line that came through here, it talks about some of the clan history, some of the people you're most likely to meet if you were here in the 17 and 1800s. It talks about the views that you'll be able to see.
People have been wayfaring through the Great Glen since early tribes first took to the lochs and rivers, to ensure a comparatively speedy journey through the rough and mountainous landscape. Early fortifications, built by tribes such as the Picts, were gradually replaced and modernised until great castles like Castle Urquhart rose on the same spot. Maybe Pictish blood runs in the veins of some of those you'll meet as you journey along the ways. The Pictish tongue is long forgotten, but there are echoes of it in the place names of the Glen and in the Gaelic language still widely spoken in this area. The traditional music scene is flourishing. If you get invited to a ceilidh, don't hesitate.
A ceilidh is a night where entertainment happens and everyone comes along and has a really enjoyable night, as well as a ceilidh dance as well, which is where people get up and dance. So if you hear of any ceilidhs, come along and it'll be a really great night.
Clothing the hillsides throughout the Glen are moorlands and many remnants of ancient forests.
Some of the trees here are some of the first trees that the Forest Commission have planted in Scotland. So we have wonderful big Douglas fir down by Inchnacarder, a mixture of the old native forest and the commercial forestry as well. That's a great place to walk and look at the trees.
Today, whether natural or planted, the woodland environment provides a refuge for many fascinating and rare species of plant and animal.
There's amazing wildlife here in the Glen. There's ospreys that nest in the forest here and fish the loch, lots of deer. There's red deer, roe deer, sika deer. Sometimes you might see a pine marten crossing the trail in front of you. There's lots of wildlife for people to come and experience.
Woodlands today are managed for the benefit of both wildlife and people, and you are welcome to explore along the length of the Glen. What an invitation!
Well, we look after all the trails to make sure there's good access for people, if there's any trees that came down, or really just make sure it's a safe place for people to come and enjoy. You know?
So think about it. Broaden your horizons, literally, and see the Great Glen for yourself. If you allow it to, the tranquility of the Great Glen can seep into your soul, displacing modern stress and strain with a real sense of contentment. Maybe that sounds a bit hard to believe, but if you don't visit, how will you ever find out?
You have to come here to see it for yourself. I mean, the views, the locals, it's just outstanding, isn't it? It's an experience in itself.
If you want to come and see Scotland, you can see so much variety of Scotland all on one route. That's the great attraction.
Why go abroad when you've got this on your doorstep?
There really is something for everybody.
Come to Dochgarach Loch, enjoy the view, take it easy.
Just come and see what we live with every day. Come and experience it, see the views. It's just feel what we feel every day. It's fantastic.